everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Let's get the video started. Have you guys ever heard the term cutting them down to size? Me too. I didn't realize until I was an adult exactly what that meant. That literally meant cutting someone emotionally in their core and making them feel small. I didn't get how drastic that statement was until I was an adult and I understood what that meant. You see, my dad, he was a rager, and he loved to make people feel small. He loved to cut people down to size. He enjoyed a good argument, and he would argue until he felt he won. And it could be a stranger in Kentucky Fried Chicken, or it could simply be in his home. I do feel he felt a certain amount of satisfaction making his family feel small and lonely, sometimes desolate. His favorite thing for me was to tell me what a disappointment I was. Now, I don't mean this is disappointing, LaurelBelle. I am disappointed that you have received these grades. It wasn't that kind of thing. It was a personal thing. It was a you, LaurelBelle, as a human being, are a disappointment. And that's very different. It's very cutting. It makes your soul feel very small. I realized when I was in my late teens that I was worried that I would carry on my dad's habits, to the point that I, in the very beginning, in the very early years, knew that I didn't want to have any children. Now that changed as time went on, but I was so worried that I was going to be my father to my children that I wanted to avoid it altogether. I was worried about cutting people down or enjoying an argument and making them feel small. And I made a deal with myself that I wouldn't treat people that way because it felt so horrible when I was growing up. And it's something that I have retained to this very day. It's really interesting that I read an article and it talked about people who give therapy to individuals, like therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. And in this article, it said that clients in their 60s and 70s can still recall the exact words and phrases that belittled and hurt them in their childhood. And I think that's horrible, because that means that I'm not the only one, that there are so many of you listening to my voice today who are very able to accurately pinpoint a moment in time and remember everything that was said and to feel how you felt. And for that, I am very sorry, and I wish that I could give you a hug. It is a terrible thing to feel very small. So I wanted to talk about that today, and I hope you don't mind. It's definitely different from handbags and other things that we generally talk about, story times and that kind of thing. There's a couple of Bible verses that have stuck with me, and the first one is found in Proverbs 15:4. And by the way, if you're an atheist or if you're agnostic, it's okay. It's just a really quick Bible verse, just like something I just quoted before. The soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. And I think that's how I always felt, that when certain things are said, and by the way, I read that and I say that because I don't think it's just a thing from childhood. Even though these people in their 60s and 70s remember things from their childhood, the exact moment, the exact thing, I believe that even as adults, we can hear things and they can have moments where we don't forget them. As an adult, I have experienced moments that I have not forgotten either. Very pivotal moments where an adult has said something to me and it's been an unforgettable moment. So there are two ways, I believe, to pass along that moment of giving of cutting someone down to size. One way is for us to say it, to type it, to say it on the phone, to say it to their face, to be quippy in a very destructive way. I love being quippy. I'm a pretty quippy person. I can come up with things really quickly, and I'm funny. But I strive to be funny, quippy, in an uplifting kind of way. I don't want to tear people down. So that's one way that we can do it, right? We can say, if they come at me, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for the jugular. Sometimes I can appreciate that thought process. In my experience, a lot of that comes from being hurt and getting the jump, or making a decision that you won't allow yourself to be in that moment anymore, and that's a struggle. And for that, I wish I could hug you. The next is to internalize that conversation. So rather than speak it to someone, rather than me say something belittling to you right now, I say it to me. And that is just as cutting. It can make your soul feel just as small, although sometimes you may not even realize it. Sometimes you're doing something and you say, "Ah, that's so stupid. Oh, why do I talk like that? Why can't I just shut up at a party? Why do I have to go for the humor? Why do you have to be like that? Why can't you just sit and be quiet and have a good conversation? Why are you the way you are? Why did you just eat that piece of cake after you said you weren't going to have any? I'm disappointed in you." Whether you have said a damaging thing to another individual, whether you have crushed someone else's spirit, or whether you have crushed your own spirit, they're both equally as bad. They're both equally as damaging. My ask of you tonight, because this world has gotten so quippy in a destructive way, and I see so many people hurt and hurting, I'm going to ask that you do two things for me this week. Each day, when someone says something to you and you can feel that fire burning, and you're about to be really quippy and cut them down to size, I'm going to ask that you just take a breath and maybe think of a way that you can be quippy, take the heat out of the conversation, give a little bit of grace, and just keep moving. That's the first thing. Just one time each day for this week. The next thing that I want to ask of you, for those of you who internalize, anybody, when you do something a little silly and you're getting ready to give yourself a darn good thrashing, I want you to be gentle with yourself. I want you to give yourself a little break. And I want you to lighten that conversation. And it doesn't have to sound like, "Oh, why did you forget your keys? It's so stupid. Why can't you just remember where they are?" Accept it. Just accept that you've lost your keys and just go, "Well, I've lost them again. I suppose they'll be found like every other time I've been able to find them. Let me get to looking. Just try to be a little more positive to others and to yourself. I really do care about each one of you on this channel, each subscriber. I do consider you like my family, and I am always grateful that you spend time with me, and I'm so grateful that you spent some time with me today. If this video has been helpful to you in any way, please press subscribe if you haven't already. Like, don't press the subscribe button to unsubscribe. We don't want any of that going on. But also click the notification button. I would really appreciate it. I want you to take care of yourselves. I want you to spread a little bit of joy until we talk to each other again. Take care and have a great day.